You having lunch today, Dan?
Don't know. I haven't even thought about that. Just had breakfast.
He's got his jam sandwiches in his lunchbox.
Fair.
I made jam sandwiches last night.
Yeah. Not for the kids, for you.
Yeah.
Right, you've seen the swing. Guy plays off scratch. He's around 20 years old. He obviously can play. He complains of a push cut. What shall we give him to make him control that push cut?
Some wrist angles. He pulls hard on the grip end, doesn't he, on the way down?
Okay.
Which then adds a bit of cut, which deepens the shaft.
Yeah.
What you were saying, people call over the top.
Yeah.
Over the top of what? So I would be playing around with wrist angles to see if that helps.
Go on then. So what would you do to his wrist angles? Let's start with that one. I like that.
I would be bowing more.
Okay.
Which will sort the face out and stop it from being open, which might stop the leak to the right.
Show me again. Sorry, you'd be.
So he goes this way, but
Yeah.
I would be trying to feel this pull.
Okay. So that will change the face.
And also loft a little bit depending on if he keeps it in there or not.
So for me, what's interesting with this swing, certainly around conversations yesterday I was having on Twitter, which are fun, he goes back what people would call on plane, this mythical plane that everyone wants to get addicted to. And then he comes down steeper than that plane, so in effect over the top. He complains of push cuts. So you've got two options. You change the direction of the path and keep the face where it is, and then he hits control cuts. Or you've got to keep the path where it is, which is obviously inside to out if he's hitting push cuts, over the top hitting in to out. See where I'm going with this? So you need to then change the face to get it starting to the right, push, and rather than cut, the face change, get close to the path, or get him drawing back. You've got two options with, I think, a scratch handicapper. I personally wouldn't get too worried about the standing up because he's obviously perfecting it. He's off scratch. Like, he's a good player. Why brutalise something when he's good? So you've done face. I like wrist angles. What would you do, Dan?
So talking about
if it wasn't face, if we were going to change path.
Just one thing I want to add to that though is just be careful when he's looking at himself at the top, because he may see himself with a flat wrist position at the top, but then as he starts to pull, he then starts to cup it.
Yeah,
which
Matt
is what
said that. He pulls on the shaft.
But it's just making sure when he looks at it in the future that he does see that that's still quite flat at the top.
Yeah. So it's a downswing fault more than it's on the way back, just for you, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But again, a common one with a lot of young players, certainly growing up, and I was certainly one of those, is this feeling of almost getting into this position with the hips.
Yeah, he's a thruster.
Bit of a thruster. I would like to see a little bit more clearance in those hips, get everything more sort of going left out of the way. In his feeling, it will be feeling like it's going this way.
And
so
what might that do to the path? That's going to move that path.
It's going to start pulling it more around to the left.
Absolutely.
To get more out to in as he comes through it.
So you're going to change path work with the push cuts.
Yeah.
Matt might start with wrists, but I know he would do that probably as well if it's both of those options. You've got two options. So really, again, with any players, but certainly good players like this, it's about working with them, isn't it? If he says, oh, I do this, I've tried this with my wrist, but I get a bit slingy, so hooky, then I understand why that might scare someone, which you'd probably agree with, Matt, would you?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then if he hasn't, it would be a fun one to try. And then he might also vice versa say, look, I've tried this, it just doesn't work for me, I get X whatever shot. 9 times out of 10 with your better player, the idea of a bit more rotation on the way down, apart from that aggressive thrust, because the aggressive thrust is good for distance and power and all those things, which helps you play off scratch. I would just guess, and you said this when you saw the video, good days he's good.
Yeah.
I'd imagine bad days he's like, could be a bit anywhere, which is where I think the rotation option would be where we would all kind of end up in the X. Right. I'm not sure what I'm having for lunch either. Maybe I'll steal your jam sandwiches, Dan.